Well, WTO does not have a natural role in the question of either developing or allocating vaccines. It primarily resolves trade dispute and negotiating trade barriers. So therefore, this meeting should be seen as probably one in many, many meetings ahead in order to avoid a future trade dispute over the pandemic.
But we know that Ms. Okonjo-Iweala is keen to get started on a very full agenda. She's promised to bring energy to the issues that she feels are important. So perhaps we can expect this to shove a little harder than we normally expect from the WTO.
Well, that's very, very true. I mean, the ordinary functions of the WTO has been stuck now for almost 2 decades. So it is actually a very good opportunity for the new Director General to reinvent the WTO by building a new area where it could actually exercise a role. The question is really which. And also she, as a person, she has a long background in developing vaccines through the vaccine NGO, which has been basically one of her career paths to this job.
I mean, the WTO's role as an adjudicator has also been, well, let's face it, quite badly damaged by deteriorating relations with Washington. Can we expect the Director General's agenda to be boosted by Washington re-engaging with the WTO and lending some badly needed muscle and influence?
Well, here's the problem with the WTO, which is that it is actually really a member-driven organization, and whereas the Director General and the Secretariat merely functions as stewards. So, in other words, it's really not a question about what WTO can do. It's really a question about what the United States and Europe on one side versus India and South Africa on the other side, what they are willing to agree with the Director General Ngozi as an umpire.
So this takes us, of course, to the question of the vaccines, intellectual property, patent, and all the rest of it in terms of getting these vaccines out to as many people as possible. The WTO agenda is pretty clear, but all the member states will have their own private views about how much they want to give away in terms of ownership of the vaccines.
True, but the truth is that the current rules in the World Trade Organization already allows the members to impose compulsory licensing. In other words, within air quotes, confiscating patents in a time like this. And it has never been disputed. This is a right that already exists. What we are really talking about is actually major pharmaceutical exporters like India that has a keen interest to try to perhaps incorporate and transfer as much technology as possible during the time of pandemic, but also to be able to export its surplus from India to other countries, including the United States and the EU, where the patent regime actually stopped them